My name is Djeri and I am from Latvia. I am the coordinator of the non-governmental organization Russian Society of Latvia. Our NGO is 26 years old. We carry out cultural and educational activities, humanitarian activities with socially vulnerable categories of residents of Latvia. We actively cooperate with other NGOs. We support various projects for the national and linguistic Russian minority. We conduct dialogue with authorities. We carry out activities in the field of politics and legislation at the Latvian and European level parliament. We participate in international activities in providing assistance to those searching for killed during World War II. And we participate in the associations of compatriots. All our events are aimed at forming modern European values in the public consciousness. We need to be cultural, well-educated, informed and included in the social life of the state, respecting the principles of multiculturalism while maintaining our national identity and dignity, language, culture and faith. Our non-governmental organization also defends the right of the Russian national minority in Latvia to preserve their language and cultural identity. This has become especially difficult during the war in Ukraine. Latvia is pursuing a deliberate policy of outsaying the Russian language from all spheres of life. To implement these laws, initially in Latvia, some people were not given Latvian citizenship. Since then, there have been so-called aliens on the territory of Latvia without the right to vote. Non-citizens also do not have the right to work in the government institutions. Most of the non-citizens are Russians and Russian-speaking residents of Latvia, many in the second or third generation. Also, Russian-speaking kids in Latvia don't have the right to study in Russian anymore. Kindergarten, schools and universities have completely switched their teaching into Latvian. The same rules apply to private educational institutions at all levels. These actions are directed exclusively against the Russian language because only this language, besides the state language, is in demand in education in Latvia. The education law says that teaching in any language of European Union is possible, and this is not Russian. At this moment, a law is being considered in the parliament to stop broadcasting Russian in all state media. I work in the organization on a voluntary basis. I am a volunteer in organizing mass protests against discriminatory language educational reforms in educational institutions at all levels of schools of national and linguistic minorities and have repeatedly participated in organizing the collection of signatures in defense of education in the native language for national and linguistic minorities in Latvia. I regularly communicate with government authorities on issues of the rights of national minorities. I have an MBA degree from the University of Akron in USA, where I studied as a Fulbright scholar. I have a solid business background and never thought of politics. But when the rights of the Russian community in Latvia began to be destroyed one after another, I could not stand aside. In recent years, I have become a real driving force in the fight for the rights of the Russian national minority in Latvia. In recent years, I personally organized several rallies and participated and spoke in absolutely all rallies for the preservation of the Russian language in education at all levels. I participated in parliamentary commissions on education and put forward amendments to educational bills to protect education programs for national minorities. With particular zeal, I protect children with speech therapy problems and disabilities so that these children with a native Russian language can continue to study in this language. I filed claims with the European Court of Human Rights for my children and helped more than 300 people file claims with the European Court of Human Rights and the United Nations on the issue of eliminating education in Russian in Latvia. I submitted a petition to the Petition Committee of the European Parliament in defense of the right of children of national minorities to be educated in their native language and supported many other petitions to protect the rights of national minorities. I organize annual reading competitions for school children in Russian and also participate as an organizer and jury member in other competitions for school children in Russian. I help and consult pensioners, residents of Latvia who are citizens of the Russian Federation but who live in Latvia. Their rights were violated with the adoption of new legislation in Latvia. These are 25,000 such people in Latvia. Mostly these are people over 65 years old living in Latvia for more than 40 years. They took Russian citizenship mainly for economic reasons. I was an active fighter for the preservation of monuments to fighters against fascism. Unfortunately, the forces were not on our side, but we continue to preserve and honor the memory of the heroes of the Second World War. I regularly participate in actions and conferences for peace in Ukraine. I help Ukrainian refugees in Latvia. Right now, when our Russian community is on the verge of assimilation, international experience and the support of international legal structures are extremely important for us. My participation in Minority Fellowship Program will allow me and my NGO to become more knowledgeable and experienced in protecting the cultural and linguistic rights of the Russian national minority in Latvia.